What's up, Pharrellovidians? Mafia here with you. Pharrell and Carver High out the rest of 2016, but we didn't want to leave your Facebook feed empty, so I thought I'd throw a little something at you the next couple days on what's going on in the world of sports. Of course, over the past weekend, you had a lot of great college basketball action. Of course, the NFL was doing big things. Lots of games that impact the playoff races, like Detroit losing to the Giants and Green Bay holding on in Chicago to make that NFC North race tight. You had Tennessee beating Kansas City to make things very interesting in the AFC. And of course, you had Dallas rebounding and beating Tampa Bay at home on Sunday Night Football as Ezekiel Elliott donates himself to charity. But still, not the biggest thing that's being talked about as we come out of the weekend. The biggest thing is not things that are going on, but things that are not happening, with a bunch of college players opting not to play in their bowl games to get ready for the NFL draft. That's right, we had Leonard Fournette do it late last week. Fournette's been banged up, a lot of injuries, especially to the ankle the last couple of years. So he decides he's not going to play for LSU as he gets ready for the draft. And now Christian McCaffrey, one of the more exciting players in college football, who probably should have won the Heisman last year, decides he's not going to play for Stanford in their bowl game. Now, it seems like sides are being drawn, and it kind of seems like on one side, you have the fans who are really upset about them not playing, and on the other side, you have the players and the coaches who have no problem with it. And the media kind of falls whichever way they want to. They're kind of half and half, it seems. And the way I see it, I understand where they're coming from both sides. For the fans, you're paying a lot of money for these games if you're going to go to them. You want to go there, you want to be there, you want to see these players. You do not want to see their understudies. You want to see the top players play maybe their last game in college. For these guys, definitely their last game in college. For the schools and the bowl games, you want your best guys there because these bowl games want to make the most money. And the way they're going to make the most money is having the best players. If all of a sudden McCaffrey's not there, some people might not go to the Sun Bowl now because they don't care about the rest of Stanford. But on the other side, for the players, they want to make that money. And if you get blown out in one of these bowl games, it doesn't matter. If you get blown out in the Sun Bowl, if you get blown out in the Citrus Bowl, if you get blown out in a non-playoff game, that hurts your career. Look what happened to Willis McGahee. How he shredded that knee and fell far down the first round. What happened to Jalen Ramsey last year? He lost probably $12, $15 million because of his injury and his recovery that's happened this year. So, for the player's perspective, I understand that. You don't want to risk that. You don't want to lose $10, $15, $20 million because you played a bowl game that doesn't matter. Now, of course, if this is a playoff game, if this is a championship game, there's no excuse, and there's no guy backing out. You're not giving up on your team for that game. You're getting in there. But for the NCAA, it's not good for them. It's not a good look because more and more guys are going to follow this. This is going to happen throughout any big program, any big prospect, in any little game. If it's not a playoff game, they're not going to play. They're worried about the money, and you can't fault them for it. And that's the beast that this NCAA has created because now you have 40 bowl games. How many do you really care about? I don't care about most of them. I don't watch most of them. You know, maybe it's a big team, I might watch it, but for me, it's all about, the quote-unquote New Year's Six that we used to have. Those are the big games, the New Year's Day, New Year's Eve games that we used to have. The Big Six, those are the ones I care about, and a few others. For the most part, we don't care about the rest. I don't care about the Monkey Car Care Bowl. I don't care about, the Boca Raton Bowl. I don't care about all these little bowl games from December 17th up to December 28th. They don't matter to me. So I understand these players and why they're sitting out. But the NCAA had all these bowl games because all they care about is money. And the problem is they can't roll it back. No bowl game is going to say, you know what, we don't matter. No one's watching. No one's coming. We're just not going to have it anymore because they make money off these bowl games. No school's going to say, you know what, we weren't really that good. We barely had over 500 record. We don't deserve a bowl game because they make money off these bowl games. The only ones not making money off the bowl games are the players. So when they don't make money off these games and it affects the money they're going to make off future games, I completely understand them sitting out. The only way you change that, I hate to say it, is getting rid of some of these games or not taking the big programs to games that don't matter or paying these kids. And I'm the last one to jump out and say, oh, pay, throw money at these kids because it gets ridiculous. And then everyone's saying, oh, we have to pay everyone. No, you don't. These little schools going to these little bowl games, most of those kids aren't going pro. And you know what? For them, it's a huge sense of pride to get in any bowl game. So those guys aren't backing out. Those games don't make that much money. You don't have to pay them. And if you do, it doesn't have to be equal to what you make. You want to make this really worth something? You want to make it worthwhile for these guys? Okay, put up some money for them. Or you take out some big insurance policy that if they get hurt in one of these games and it costs them and it drops them down the draft board, that they get it made up somehow. Otherwise, this is going to happen over and over again. You make a playoff game, you make a Big Six game, you make some of these other games, you get some money. It's made worth your while. You get that insurance policy because you don't want to risk the rest of your career to play in a game that doesn't matter in the end. I mean, for Christian McCaffrey, he played in the Rose Bowl last year. You think the Sun Bowl means anything to him? It doesn't. So for the NCAA, even if they expand the playoffs, like a lot of people are talking about, people say, oh, expand the playoffs and more games matter. It still only adds 4 games that matter. You're still not adding the Sun Bowl in that. You're not going to add the Meineke or the Outback Bowl or any of these other randomly named bowl games from December 17th to December 28th. They're not going to count. So that's not going to solve the problem. Money is the only way. Money talks. Money does it. So if the NCAA and these bowl games want to make their money, they're going to have to either pay some money out or at least protect against what the other players may lose if they get hurt in these bowl games. That's all there is to it. You want to make it, you got to pay it. So figure it out, NCAA. Otherwise, it's going to happen over and over again every year. Anybody who's in the top 10 or even probably the first 2 rounds, if their game doesn't really matter, they're going to say, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go work some drills over here while you guys hit each other and blow out knees, shoulders, elbows, ribs, whatever. That's the only solution. They're not going to like it. They don't want to share the piece of the pie, but if you don't share, you don't get any pie. So that's what's happening right now with these kids bowing out in college bowl games. I'll see you again tomorrow night. We'll talk about what else has been going on in the sports world. We'll talk about maybe some NBA or college hoops if there's any big games going on. It's Mafia signing off, filling in for Varel. See you tomorrow.